There's a big problem with the water supply basically around the world in dry places. Because, of course, these are the hot places, the deserts, near Las Vegas, and they're all very dry. So people have been pumping the water out of the aquifers under the ground when there was fresh water down there, and now they're drying up and they don't know what to do. But of course, the only solution to replenish that water is that it rains down somewhere, and then it's fresh water and it can be channeled or transported to the area in which it's needed. Now there are places, of course the ocean is heating up significantly, so more clouds will evaporate from them, and that also creates a problem in the form of storms, like Katrina style very strong hurricanes, which is not very good. But you can do that also in a controlled fashion. Of course, solar desalination, the simplest form, is you use solar still, as it's called. You basically cover up some ground with plastic sheet. You put some seawater on it, and it evaporates. It condensates against the plastic sheet, and then you drain that sheet, or it drips down along it, and you have pure distilled water to irrigate your land. Now there are places in the world that you can put water in. Of course, it's in the desert. If you take like a hot place in the desert and you have a swimming pool, then you can just sit by it and you can see the water evaporate. It goes very quickly. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but usually, of course, you don't have the water to do that. Where do you get the fresh water to evaporate in your swimming pool or in your pond? And what use is that? If you have fresh water, then you will irrigate with it. So that makes no sense. But what does make sense, according to me, is to use seawater to do that. After all, we're already talking about a salty underground, a salty desert. If you do it in a salty desert like you have in Argentina, like you have near Las Vegas, like you have in many places that are very hot, in which oceans have dried up in the middle of continents. If you take those places and you irrigate them with seawater, then there's no loss in terms of salinity of the ground. You're not making the ground less fertile. It is infertile. It cannot be used, but you are creating water evaporation in places where it is not right now. Because the water, if you use, for instance, the example of Las Vegas, if you take an area along Route 66 where you can pick the salt up from the ground, and you irrigate that with seawater, then you'll get clouds there, and they'll rain down around that area, or they will blow into some mountains, and then they will flow down in rivers. So you have a huge desalination potential, even in California, that you can deploy quite easily by making a large pipe and simply pumping seawater into the desert. And I thought I might repeat this idea. I have an article about the idea, and I link next to this video.